well, wait a minute. The paperwork said that that's only one trustee has to do it. Why are you requiring everybody to sign everything? It's because these banks and other financial institutions have gotten screwed in the past. Hi, Jeff Masachi, the Plain English Attorney, and welcome to the video. Today we are going to talk about co-trustee chaos. Oh my gosh. Having co-trustees can be one of the worst decisions that you can make. And unfortunately, there are a lot of attorneys that just kind of throw it out there, and it's going to be one of two things. One, they don't really know any better, or they haven't done this enough to see the actual chaos that can happen. Or two, yeah, they understand the chaos and they know the family's coming back to them and their law firm to help settle the disputes that are inevitably going to come up. So, we're going to focus on three very specific things and reasons why having co trustees is just a bad idea. But first, let's talk a little bit about the mindset from the client's point of view. They don't want to have to choose among their children. They don't want to be seen as picking any kind of favorites. It's, oh, we love everybody equally, and therefore we equally want them to be in charge. And it just creates a huge mess. So let's just take an example. Let's say we've got three kids. They're going to be three co trustees. Let's just go ahead and make them all equal. Well, here's the big thing that happens, and unfortunately, I do see it a lot, and maybe some of the attorneys who see this just don't see it as that much of an issue. They're so much on the legal side that they're really forgetting the family dynamics of all of this. And so when they see three trustees and it's always a vote of 2-1, and it's always the same votes of 2-1, what's really happening here is you got two trustees ganging up on the third and shutting them out. And I've seen enough of this happen, thankfully not one of my clients, but with another attorney, where the kid finally had to go to court and get some type of court action because not only were his two siblings forcing him out of the decisions and just going contrary to anything that he thought, they were now starting to do distributions to themselves, but not approving distributions to him.
If you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel.
So that ended up having to go to court and being a big, expensive mess, all because, oh, well, we just don't want to create friction. We want everybody to feel like they're loved. When you're choosing a trustee, you're choosing someone who has a job to do and they need to understand a little bit about finances. They need to understand and be organized. They have to make sure everything is taken care of, and it's their job to take care of the beneficiaries, settle the issues, and get things out. That's a job. If you're using a revocable living trust, it may not be a huge job overall, but if there's going to be money retained long term, it just makes it so much less complicated and less chaotic if one person is handling it and you're picking the best person for the job. And unfortunately, this is also kind of a sad truth that I end up seeing with a lot of my clients. Maybe none of their kids should actually be a trustee at all anywhere in that list. And they need to go to other friends and family members or even a company to do that. So that the first thing is just it just ends up being chaos when you have to have multiple people and votes, and if they can't agree, okay, it just becomes chaos. Second big thing, there's delays. Okay, when you're drafting these documents and you're putting in legally, oh, well, if we're going to have two, co-trustees or three co-trustees, only one of them has to sign the paperwork. That's the terms of the trust. That's what it says. And legally, that may be true. Unfortunately, in a practical sense, now, if you've got three co-trustees or even two co-trustees, all of the different financial institutions out there are gravitating towards making all the co-trustees sign. Well, wait a minute. The paperwork said that that's only one trustee has to do it. Why are you requiring everybody to sign everything? It's because these banks and other financial institutions have gotten screwed in the past. How? Well, if you end up with three co-trustees, but only one of them signs paperwork, there's a vote. It's 2-1, and that third co-trustee runs to the bank and does what they want. And now they're signing on the dotted line that, yeah, we all approve this. And they didn't. And so what happens is the other two co-trustees end up bringing some kind of lawsuit against the third, and they're just dragging the bank and the financial institution into this mess. And so just as a policy, they're saying, no, no, look, we want all the co-trustees to sign everything. But that's not what's in the trust. Well, here's the unfortunate thing that a lot of my clients don't necessarily realize until we get into the process and understand a little bit more and get through some of the educational materials. Look, your financial institution isn't following a state law as their regulations. When you end up putting your money in with a financial institution, you've got pages and pages of all of these terms and agreements and fine print. It's a contract, and you're agreeing, here's how it's going to go. And usually, with banks and other financial institutions, they have the ability to update any of those terms and conditions anytime they want. They send you these updates and notices with fine print, and here's how things have changed. And it's up to you. If you no longer want to comply with that, okay, just go somewhere else. And so somewhere in all that fine print, you've got well, if you have co-trustees, co-trustees have to sign everything. Uh, Now it's getting on to be many years ago. I had a client. We talked about the whole co-trustee thing. He was absolutely fine with it. He said, I have my daughter and I have my son. My daughter's first, my son is second, and I think it was like a niece or a nephew was third in that list of trustees. And that was the same thing with the power of attorney. He had his healthcare agents, one person at a time, but for some reason, he wanted his son and daughter to be co-executors of the pour over will. Why? That's just the way I want it. And no matter how many examples I gave and things, this is a bad idea. Nope, co-executors. All right, fine. You've been warned. Well, he did pass on. And fortunately, between him and his daughter helping him, a lot of stuff was funded into the trust. But what wasn't, I believe it was two vehicles weren't funded into the trust. They weren't highly expensive vehicles, but they were decent enough. And it took it out of the range of being a quote small estate. And he had the nerve to actually die before getting his tax refund for state and federal. And what he actually liked to do, he liked to overpay his taxes so that he would get a refund check. And it's like, it was kind of his play money that he was counting on every March or April because he'd always file the taxes early and he'd get this refund. And this is the money that I'm just going to use and spend. Well, he died after filing the taxes, but before he got the refund. And so those refund checks are made out to the estate. All right, that's the only stuff that really had to go through probate. Real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, IRA, all that stuff was taken care of to avoid probate. Let me tell you, no exaggeration. We had the paperwork done to file for the estate pretty quickly. Daughter lived right down the road. She stopped by that same day that we called and said, yeah, we want to set up a time for you to come in and sign the paperwork, and I can notarize it. Great. Got everything, put it into a package, shipped it off to the brother. You just need to sign this in front of a notary. Okay. 2 weeks go by. Hey, where's that paperwork? Oh, well, yeah, I got it. It's sitting in the front foyer. I'll get to it. Okay, well, look, everything's waiting on this. Okay. A week and a half later, hey, did you get around to signing the paperwork? Oh, no, I haven't yet. I took a look at it. I need to sign it in front of a notary. All right, I'll get to that next week. Oh, wait, I'm going on vacation. It'll be the week I get back. And this just drug on all, with no exaggeration, 4.5 months extra on top of the regular probate process, just waiting on his signatures. Was the daughter upset? She's like, no, look, I know it's not malicious. That's just the way my brother is. I understand it. It's fine. I know it's going to take a lot longer. And it did, all because you had to have two signatures. So these delays just ended up causing an awful lot of chaos. And it just put everything in a holding pattern just because he wasn't ready to sign stuff as soon as he got it. Now, that's just with someone kind of being a little bit lazy about signing stuff. What if it's actually malicious? And so that kind of brings us to really a third point. When you end up having disagreement, what if these two people, these two co-trustees, did have a disagreement? Now it becomes expensive to solve and settle. I got called for, I guess it was kind of a second opinion, sort of. There were 6 kids. They were all co-trustees, and they all ended up having to agree on sale paperwork for the trust after mom and dad had died. And so they're trying to sell the house, but 2 of the kids just didn't want to sell the house. But that's the family homestead. We can't sell that. Yet they weren't willing to contribute anything to keeping it up. They didn't want to take care of, mowing the lawn, coming by and just doing maintenance, but they refused to have the family homestead sold. And so it just sat there. And I got called, "Well, what can we do? What can we do?" Honestly, I ended up having to send them to a real estate attorney to start an action to partition the property and just do whatever needed to be done to try to get the house sold. And it ended up being a big mess. I after I passed it off, I didn't get an awful lot in the details, but that really did hold up everything, and it did create a huge amount of chaos. 6 co-trustees. Oh my God, it was just absolutely ridiculous. So these are 3 big things when you end up with co-trustee chaos. Look, you just end up with everybody having to sign everything. Delays can end up happening when you have to have all of those signatures. And 3, if there's a disagreement, it can get to be expensive. If it has to go to court to solve a disagreement over selling a piece of property, whether or not to do it, okay. So this is why having co-trustees, just 3 reasons. There are probably more. If you can think of more, please go ahead and put that in the comments. And by the way, if you're still here, please like the video and subscribe. Help get this information out there. There's an awful lot of, I don't want to say trolls, but I guess there are trolls that are out there who don't want this message of trying to avoid probate or getting things done simply. They just keep commenting and downgrading. And there's one in particular, he keeps talking about some non-existent type of plan, which basically means, no, send it to probate because probate's going to make sure nobody's stealing your estate. Look, if you subscribe and put positive comments, it's going to drown out the trolls. So please help get the message out with that. And as I always tell my clients, please stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life. And whatever you do, make it a great day.